I walked into that gleaming office building and found my daughter on her knees in a bathroom, scrubbing a toilet with yellow rubber gloves. Her business suit hung on a hook behind her. Her father-in-law stood over her, laughing with his buddies. "That's the only job this girl knows how to do," he said. "College degree and all. 26 years of raising her alone. Every sacrifice I made after her mother died. All to watch my little girl get humiliated like this on her first day." I'm Marshall Thompson, 58 years old, and I've been an electrician for 35 years. What happened next changed everything. The kitchen smelled like bacon and strong coffee that Tuesday morning. Sophia sat at our small table, fidgeting with her blazer. Navy blue, professional, the kind I'd never owned but bought for her first day. She looked nervous but excited, that familiar mix I'd seen since she was little before school plays or science fairs. "You want more coffee, sweetheart?" I asked, flipping eggs at the old stove I'd installed myself 15 years ago. "No thanks, Dad. I'm jittery enough already." She laughed, but I heard the nerves underneath. "I really want to make you proud. Rodriguez Development is one of the biggest firms in San Antonio. I know it is." I slid the eggs onto her plate, the good china we only used for special occasions. "And you earned this position. Don't let anyone tell you different." She nodded, but I saw that familiar doubt in her eyes. Sophia had always been brilliant, top of her business class at UT, summa cum laude, but she carried this weight that made her question herself. I'd spent 26 years trying to build her confidence, brick by careful brick, ever since Grace died of cancer when Sophia was just 2 years old. "Mom would be so proud," I said quietly, glancing at the photo on the counter. Grace in her nurse uniform, that beautiful smile that Sophia inherited. Her throat worked. "I wish she could see this. Her little girl in the corporate world. She can." I tapped my chest. "Right here. Grace always said you'd do something big someday. Said you had her brains and my stubborn streak." We ate in comfortable silence after that, the kind that comes from years of being each other's only family, sharing breakfast every morning before school, before college, before job interviews. When Sophia stood to leave, I walked her to the door like I had when she was 5, heading to kindergarten. She grabbed her briefcase, genuine leather, another purchase I'd saved months for, and turned back. Her business card holder gleamed in the morning light. Sophia Thompson, Business Development Associate. "Thanks for everything, Dad. For breakfast, for working double shifts to pay my tuition, for never missing a parent-teacher conference, for—" "Hey." I gripped her shoulder, feeling the expensive fabric of her suit. "That's what fathers do. Now get out of here before you're late." She grinned, the nervousness disappearing for a moment, and I saw my Grace in that smile. Then she was gone, backing, down the driveway in her Honda. Practical, reliable, paid for with my overtime checks. I stood on the porch watching until she turned the corner, but this uneasy feeling settled in my chest like a stone. Something wasn't right. Call it father's intuition, call it 35 years of reading electrical diagrams and knowing when circuits were wrong, but I felt it in my bones. I tried to shake it off, went back inside, washed our dishes in the sink I'd repaired a dozen times, checked my work schedule for the day, 3 service calls, routine stuff. But the feeling wouldn't leave. It sat there, heavy and persistent like storm clouds gathering. I picked up my phone 3 times to call her, then put it down. She was a grown woman now, 26 years old with a college degree and dreams bigger than our small house. She didn't need her old man hovering like she was still in pigtails. But I couldn't concentrate on the bid I needed to submit for the Morrison account. Couldn't focus on the crew schedule I needed to review. My mind kept drifting to Sophia, walking into that glass tower downtown, meeting people who'd never worked with their hands, never worried about making rent. Finally, around 11, I made a decision. I'd swing by Rodriguez Development, maybe bring Sophia some lunch from that sandwich shop she liked. Just to check in, see how her first day was going. Nothing wrong with a father wanting to support his daughter. The building sat downtown, all glass and steel reaching toward the Texas sky, the kind that screamed money and power. I parked my dusty work truck between a Mercedes and a BMW, feeling suddenly out of place in my worn jeans and work shirt with Thompson Electrical embroidered on the pocket. The lobby was all marble floors and cold air conditioning, crystal chandeliers hanging like frozen waterfalls. Everything echoed, footsteps, voices, the tap of expensive heels on stone. A young woman at the reception desk looked up with a professional smile that didn't reach her eyes. Her nameplate read, Charlotte Wilson, polished brass on dark wood. "Good morning, sir. How can I help you? I'm looking for my daughter, Sophia Thompson. She started today." The smile froze on her face like someone had hit pause on a movie. Her eyes widened and something passed across her expression. Pity, fear, recognition. She glanced toward the elevators, then back to me, and I saw her hands tremble slightly. "Oh, Mr. Thompson, let me just check on that for you." And in that moment, my gut feeling crystallized into certainty. Something was very, very wrong. Charlotte stood up from her desk, one hand reaching toward me like she wanted to stop me from going further. "Mr. Thompson, maybe you should wait here while I—" But I was already past her, moving toward the elevators with the steady purpose of a man who'd spent decades fixing things that were broken. Behind me, I heard her pick up the phone, her voice low and urgent, saying words I couldn't make out but didn't need to. The elevator ride to the third floor felt endless, each floor number lighting up like a countdown to something terrible. The doors opened to a sterile hallway lined with corporate art, abstract paintings that probably cost more than I made in 6 months. I followed the signs past conference rooms with glass walls, past offices where people in expensive suits talked on phones and stared at computer screens. The smell hit me first, industrial cleaning chemicals mixed with something else, fear. I found a utility corridor tucked away from the main hallway. Voices echoed ahead, male voices mixed with cruel laughter. One of them made my skin crawl, deep and condescending, the kind of voice that had never known honest work. I rounded the corner and stopped dead. Through the half-open door, I saw my daughter on her knees in front of a toilet, wearing yellow rubber gloves that went up to her elbows. Her blazer, that beautiful navy blazer we'd picked out together at Macy's, using my employee discount, hung on a hook like a discarded dream. Her white blouse was damp with sweat and shame. She held a scrub brush in hands that should have been holding contracts and presentations. Her shoulders hunched in a way that made her look broken. Standing over her was a man in his late 40s, silver hair perfectly styled, wearing a suit that probably cost more than my monthly mortgage payment. Everything about him screamed old money. The Italian leather shoes, the gold watch, the way he held himself like the world owed him something. 2 other men flanked him, younger versions of the same arrogance, smirking like they were watching entertainment. "This is the only service this girl knows how to do." The silver-haired man's voice dripped with contempt that made my hands clench into fists. "She's got a business degree from UT and can't even scrub a toilet properly. Look at those streaks she missed." The other men laughed, the sound echoing off the bathroom tiles like breaking glass. One of them, a thin man with wire-rimmed glasses, shook his head. "Rodriguez, you're breaking her already. It's only been 2 hours." "Good," Rodriguez replied. "She needs to learn her place before she can earn her way up. Character building, gentlemen. Something her generation lacks." Then I saw her, Madison Rodriguez, standing off to the side in a designer dress that probably cost more than Sophia's monthly rent, arms crossed, watching her husband's father humiliate my daughter. She wasn't laughing, but she wasn't stopping it either. The slight smile playing at her lips made my stomach turn. But it was Sophia's face that broke my heart. My little girl looked up, searching for something, dignity, hope, a way out, and our eyes met through the doorway. Time slowed down like it does in car accidents, when you see the impact coming but can't stop it. Shame washed over her face like a tide. Her eyes were red and swollen. She'd been crying. The confident young woman who'd left my kitchen that morning was gone, replaced by someone small and broken. She tried to mouth something to me. "Please don't, or go away." I couldn't tell, but I understood. My baby girl was begging me not to see her like this. Something inside my chest cracked clean through, like when Grace got her diagnosis and the doctor's words hit me like a sledgehammer. This was my fault. I'd raised her to be too trusting, too eager to please. I'd taught her to respect authority without teaching her to recognize when authority was wrong. "Can I help you?" The silver-haired man turned toward me, irritated at the interruption of his little power game. His eyes took in my work clothes, my calloused hands, my steel-toed boots, and I saw the instant dismissal in his expression. "I'm Sophia's father." My voice came out steady, controlled, even though every muscle in my body was screaming for action. His expression shifted to cold amusement, like he'd just figured out a puzzle. "Ah, Mr. Thompson. Vincent Rodriguez." He didn't offer his hand. "Your daughter is learning the business from the ground up. Literally." He gestured at the toilet with a manicured hand, and his cronies chuckled like trained seals. So this was Vincent Rodriguez, the man my daughter had married into. The man who thought humiliation was education. Sophia? I kept my voice steady, fighting every instinct that told me to cross that room and show Vincent Rodriguez what 35 years of hard labor could do to his perfect face. "Get up, sweetheart." "She's not finished." Vincent's voice sharpened like a blade. "She's on company time, learning company values. Unless you're here to apply for a position yourself?" The insult hung in the air like smoke. Every muscle in my body wanted to move. I'd spent 35 years swinging hammers, pulling wire, lifting equipment that would break men like Vincent in half. I knew exactly how it would feel, my knuckles connecting with his perfectly straight nose, watching him crumple like the weak thing he was. But Sophia shook her head, just slightly. Her eyes pleaded with me. "Don't make it worse. Don't give them a reason to destroy what little chance I have left." That look, the same look she'd given me when kids at school made fun of her secondhand clothes, when teachers treated her differently because she didn't have a mother at parent conferences, that look saved Vincent Rodriguez's life. I forced my hands to unclench, forced my voice to stay level. "We'll talk later, sweetheart." I looked at Vincent, memorizing his face, his smug expression, the way he stood over my daughter like a conquering general. "You and I will talk too, Mr. Rodriguez." Vincent waved a dismissive hand, already turning back to his entertainment. "I'm a busy man, Mr. Thompson. I don't have time for—" "You'll make time." Something in my voice made him pause, made him look at me again. For just a second, I let him see past the work clothes and calloused hands to something harder underneath. Count on it. I walked back to the elevator before I did. Something that would hurt Sophia more than help her. The doors closed with a soft ding, sealing me alone with my rage and the smell of cleaning chemicals on my clothes. I pressed my palms against the cold metal walls and squeezed my eyes shut. No one gets to do this to my daughter. No one. The lobby was a blur of marble and voices. Outside, the Texas sun hit me like a physical force, but I felt cold inside, frozen with a purpose I hadn't felt since Grace's funeral. I sat in my truck, hands gripping the steering wheel until my knuckles went white. Then I pulled out my phone and dialed a number I hadn't used in 2 years. "Donovan, it's Marshall Thompson. I need your help. Something big." "Marshall." Donovan Clark's voice carried surprise and concern. "What's going on? You sound—" "I need you to investigate someone. Vincent Rodriguez. Rodriguez Development. I want to know everything, his company, his finances, his debts, his weaknesses. Everything." Silence on the other end. Donovan and I had known each other for 20 years, ever since he'd helped me navigate the legal mess when Grace died without proper insurance. He knew I didn't ask for things like this lightly. "How deep do you want me to go?" he finally asked. "As deep as it gets. I want to know what he had for breakfast and how much he owes on his shoes. This is about Sophia, isn't it? It's about justice. How long will it take?" "Give me until tomorrow morning." "Marshall, be careful. Men like Rodriguez don't play fair. Neither do I." I hung up and sat in my truck for another 10 minutes staring at the glass tower that held my daughter prisoner. Workers in hard hats walked past. Real workers, men and women who understood honest labor, who'd never dream of humiliating someone for sport. They nodded at me through the windshield, recognizing one of their own. Then I drove home to the house where I'd raised Sophia alone, where Grace's presence still lingered in the kitchen curtains she'd sewn, the garden she'd planted, the family photos that tracked our girl's journey from pigtails to cap and gown. The house felt too quiet without Sophia's morning chatter. I paced the kitchen, trying to burn off the rage still simmering in my chest like electricity in a live wire. On the mantel sat the photos that told our story. Sophia at 5, gap-toothed and proud in her first school uniform. Sophia at 12, holding her science fair trophy. Sophia at 18, graduation day, Grace's absence a shadow over her smile. And Sophia at 22, college graduation, that business degree we'd both sacrificed for gleaming in the frame. I'd spent 26 years building my daughter up, teaching her she was worth something, that hard work and intelligence could take her anywhere. It took Vincent Rodriguez 3 hours to try tearing all of that down. This wasn't just about getting Sophia out of there anymore. That wasn't enough. A man like Vincent Rodriguez didn't learn from mercy, he learned from consequences. And I was about to teach him the biggest lesson of his privileged life. By 10 that night, I'd made my decision. I was going to war. I was sitting at the kitchen table when I heard Sophia's key in the lock. She came through the door like a ghost, shoulders hunched, eyes down, the smell of industrial cleaning chemicals clinging to her clothes like shame. When she saw me waiting, she tried to turn away, but I caught the red around her eyes, the way her hands shook. "Come here, sweetheart." Her face crumpled just like that. 26 years old with a business degree and executive potential, and she was crying like she used to when she was 7 and bigger kids stole her lunch money. I stood up and pulled her into my arms, feeling how small she felt against my chest. "It's not your fault," I said into her hair that still smelled like the shampoo she'd used since high school. "None of this is your fault." She shook against me. "I'm sorry you had to see that, Dad. I'm so sorry. I wanted to make you proud, and instead—" "Stop." I held her tighter. "You have nothing to apologize for. Nothing." We stood there until her breathing steadied, until she felt solid again instead of like she might break. Then I guided her to the couch, the same one where we'd watched Disney movies when she was small, where I'd helped her with homework while working second jobs to keep us afloat. "Tell me what happened from the beginning," I said gently. The story came out in pieces. How Vincent had greeted her that morning with a smile, how he'd led her to what she thought was an orientation room, how he'd handed her the yellow gloves and pointed to the bathroom, how when she'd protested, he'd explained this was standard procedure for new employees, especially those who married into the family. "He said I needed to prove I wasn't just there because of Madison," Sophia said quietly, "that I had to earn respect from the ground up. Madison said it was temporary, that if I did well, I'd get my real position in 6 weeks. 6 weeks. I filed that number away, along with every other detail she gave me. Vincent said other employees had done it, that it builds character. Her voice was hollow. But Dad, the way they looked at me, the way they laughed, I felt like I was nothing. My jaw tightened until it ached. How long is this supposed to continue? Every day for 6 weeks. Different tasks, cleaning, filing, serving coffee during meetings. If I can prove myself. She trailed off. Listen to me, Sophia. I leaned forward, taking her hands in mine. Can you hold on a little longer? Can you trust me? She looked up, confused and exhausted. What do you mean? I mean, trust me. Keep your head down, do exactly what they say, and in a few weeks, everything's going to change. Dad, what are you planning? I'm planning to fix this. But I need you to be strong a little longer. Can you do that for me? Something in my voice must have convinced her, because she nodded slowly, though doubt still clouded her eyes. The next morning at 7 a.m. sharp, my phone rang. Donovan, Marshall, you're not going to believe what I found. I poured myself coffee, phone pressed to my ear. Tell me everything. Rodriguez Development is a house of cards waiting to fall. They're drowning in debt. $6 million and climbing. Bad investments in Houston real estate that never materialized. Over-leveraged properties that are bleeding money. They've got maybe 90 days before the banks start foreclosure proceedings. I stared out my kitchen window at the sunrise painting the sky orange and pink. Grace used to love watching the sunrise from this same spot, coffee cup in her hands, planning our day together. How bad is it? Bad enough that if someone doesn't bail them out soon, Vincent Rodriguez will lose everything. The company, the fancy house, the cars, all of it. He's leveraged to his eyeballs and then some. A cold smile spread across my face. What would it take to buy him out? Silence on the other end. Then, Marshall, what are you thinking? I'm thinking about acquiring a company. What would it cost? To get controlling interest? You're looking at maybe $4 million to assume the debt and buy majority stake. But Marshall, that's serious money. I have it. The silence stretched longer this time. You what? 35 years of living small, Donovan. I bought rental properties during the 2008 crash when everyone else was running scared. Invested in tech stocks when they were dirt cheap. I drove the same truck for 15 years, wore clothes until they fell apart, lived in this same house because every extra dollar went towards Sophia's future. That's your entire life savings. Money grows back, I said, thinking of my daughter on her knees, of Vincent Rodriguez's smirk, of Grace's voice telling me to protect our girl no matter what. Dignity doesn't. This is insane. This is justice. Set up a shell company. I want to be the anonymous investor until the papers are signed. Can you do that? I can, but Marshall, think about what you're doing. This is the only way men like Vincent Rodriguez learn. They understand money and power, nothing else. So I'm going to speak his language. Over the next 3 weeks, I watched my daughter endure daily humiliation while I quietly built my war machine. Every morning, she'd leave the house trying to look brave. Every night, she'd come home a little more broken. And every day, I moved another piece into position. Week 1, Sophia scrubbed toilets while Vincent made surprise inspections, forcing her to start over for imaginary problems. Meanwhile, I liquidated my first rental property. Week 2, they had her serving lunch to executives who treated her like furniture while Vincent explained her learning process. I sold my stock portfolio and met with bankers. Week 3, Vincent paraded her in front of clients as an example of proper work ethic education. I signed the papers that would destroy him. Donovan created Texas Capital Investment Group with 3 business associates as the public faces: Preston Hayes, Garrett Sullivan, and Lance Murphy. Good men who owed me favors and asked no questions about why a master electrician was buying a development company. Friday night of the 3rd week, my phone rang. Sophia, and I could hear the defeat in her voice. Dad, there's a big meeting Monday. Important clients from Dallas. Vincent wants me to serve coffee and take notes like some kind of secretary. My hand tightened around the phone. One more humiliation. One more test of how much abuse my daughter could absorb. You can do this, sweetheart. Just one more day. I promise. I don't know if I can. I feel like I'm disappearing, like every day I'm becoming smaller. You're not disappearing. You're about to become exactly who you were meant to be. After we hung up, I called Donovan. Send the offer. Tonight. I want it on Vincent Rodriguez's desk first thing Monday morning. Marshall, are you absolutely certain about this? I looked at Grace's photo on the mantle, at Sophia's college graduation picture, at 26 years of memories in this little house that love built. I've never been more certain of anything in my life. Monday morning, 9 a.m. The conference room at Rodriguez Development was packed with expensive suits and confident smiles. 6 businessmen from Dallas sat around the polished mahogany table that probably cost more than most people's cars. Sophia stood by the door holding a silver coffee pot, her hands trembling like autumn leaves. Coffee, gentlemen? Her voice came out smaller than I'd ever heard it, barely above a whisper. One of them looked up with mild confusion. Who's this young lady? Vincent leaned back in his leather chair, that familiar cruel smirk spreading across his face like spilled oil. Oh, that's my daughter-in-law Sophia, teaching her the family business from the most fundamental level possible. He paused for dramatic effect, enjoying his audience. Character building, something her generation desperately lacks. The men chuckled politely, uncomfortable but unwilling to challenge their host. I watched through the conference room's glass wall as my daughter's face burned red with humiliation. She moved around the table like a ghost, pouring coffee with the mechanical precision of someone who'd learned to survive by becoming invisible. When she reached the 3rd man, disaster struck. The pot slipped from her nervous hands. Coffee splashed across the table in a dark arc, soaking his papers and laptop. Jesus Christ! The man yelped, jumping back from the spreading mess. Vincent's face transformed from smug satisfaction to volcanic rage. You can't even do this one simple task, right? His voice echoed off the glass walls. Get a towel. Clean it up, now, on your knees where you belong. Sophia grabbed a towel from the service cart with shaking hands. She dropped to her knees for what I swore would be the last time, wiping up her own mistake while 6 strangers watched like spectators at a blood sport. The sound of her quiet apology broke something inside my chest. See what I have? To deal with, gentlemen, Vincent announced to his captive audience, spreading his hands in mock helplessness. My daughter married into a family with no backbone, no pride. But we'll fix that, one lesson at a time. That's when something beautiful happened, something Vincent Rodriguez never saw coming. My daughter stood up slowly, the coffee-stained towel falling from her hands like a discarded flag. Her shoulders straightened, her chin lifted, and for the first time in 3 weeks, I saw fire in her eyes. "Say something," she said to Madison, who'd just walked into the meeting in her designer dress. "Please. Just once, stand up for what's right." Madison glanced nervously at her father, then back at Sophia. "Not here. Don't make a scene. I quit." Sophia's voice rang clear and strong, cutting through the corporate air like a blade. The room went dead silent. Vincent's smirk vanished like smoke. "What did you say?" "I quit." Louder this time, stronger. "I'm done being your entertainment. I'm done letting you treat me like I'm nothing." She stripped off the coffee-stained apron and let it fall to the expensive carpet. "I have a business degree from UT. I graduated summa cum laude. I deserve better than this, and somewhere out there is a company that will recognize my worth." And she walked out, head high, leaving Vincent Rodriguez speechless in front of his Dallas clients. My phone rang 10 minutes later. Sophia, crying in her car but crying tears of relief, not shame. "Dad, I quit. I couldn't take it anymore. I walked out." "Come home, sweetheart, come home right now. I'm sorry. I know you wanted me to wait, but I couldn't." "Sophia." My voice was firm, proud. "You just won." The FedEx envelope had arrived at Vincent's office at 2 p.m. that Monday, marked urgent in red letters. Vincent tore it open at his desk while his lawyer, Spencer Davis, watched from across the mahogany surface. Texas Capital Investment Group. Vincent read the letterhead aloud, his voice tight with stress. His eyes scanned the professional formatting, the Austin address, the corporate seal. The letter was direct and devastating. Intent to purchase 60% of Rodriguez Development Corporation for $4 million. Cash offer. 24-hour response deadline. Spencer leaned forward, his lawyer's instincts engaged. "They're legitimate. Austin-based investment firm with serious backing. Who are they?" Vincent's voice was sharp with desperation. Cameron Mitchell, the company's nervous accountant, cleared his throat. "Sir, with all due respect, we need this offer." "Desperately." Vincent's jaw tightened. "Explain the situation." Cameron slid a spreadsheet across the desk with trembling fingers. "We have $2 million due to the banks next month, another $1.5 million in contractor liens. Payroll's already 2 weeks behind. Without immediate capital injection." He trailed off, unable to finish the sentence. "I understand our challenges, Cameron. Then you understand we have no alternatives. If you reject this offer, the banks foreclose within 30 days. You lose everything. The company, the house, the cars. At least this way you retain 40% ownership and the company survives." Vincent stood and walked to his office window, looking out at the city his father had conquered 40 years ago. Everything built over 4 decades was crumbling beneath his feet. His phone rang. Spencer answered, listened briefly, then held it out. "It's them. Texas Capital." Vincent took the phone with a steady hand. "Rodriguez speaking." "Mr. Rodriguez?" "Donovan Clark, with Texas Capital Investment Group." The voice was professionally cool. "I trust you received our acquisition proposal." "I did. I need time to consider all options." "I understand, but we're working with a compressed timeline. We have other opportunities if Rodriguez Development doesn't meet our investment criteria." "Who's behind your investment group? I want names, references." "Confidential investors, standard industry practice. You'll meet the principals if you accept our terms." A strategic pause. 20 hours remaining, Mr. Rodriguez. Final offer. Your letter specified 24 hours. Circumstances have accelerated our timeline. 20 hours or we pursue alternative investments. The line went dead, leaving Vincent staring at a phone that suddenly felt like a death sentence. Thursday morning, 10 a.m., Hotel Emma's private conference room. Vincent arrived with Spencer and Cameron, desperate men in expensive suits. Across the polished table sat 3 professionals representing Texas Capital: Preston Hayes, Garrett Sullivan, and Lance Murphy. "Gentlemen," Vincent tried for his old confidence, "we appreciate your interest in Rodriguez Development." Preston spoke first, his tone businesslike and final. "We've completed comprehensive due diligence, Mr. Rodriguez. Your company faces significant structural challenges, temporary market fluctuations. The underlying fundamentals remain exceptionally strong." Garrett's voice was flat as concrete. The fundamentals show $6 million in accumulated debt, 2 failed development projects, and a 90-day foreclosure timeline. Spencer intervened quickly. My client fully understands the current situation. That's precisely why we're here today. Lance laid out the terms with surgical precision. Our offer, $4 million for 60% controlling ownership. You continue as senior consultant at $45,000 annually. Consultant? Vincent's voice cracked. This is my company. My father's legacy. Donovan's voice cut through the room like ice. It was your company. In 20 days, it becomes the bank's company unless you sign today. We require an immediate decision, Preston added. We have alternative investment opportunities waiting. Vincent whispered urgently to Spencer. The lawyer's response was barely audible but crystal clear. Take it. It's your only option. Cameron leaned forward. Sir, please, sign. Vincent's voice came out defeated, hollow. I accept. Excellent, Donovan said. However, our primary investor requests a personal meeting before finalizing signatures. Footsteps approached the connecting door. 3 sharp knocks echoed through the silent room. I opened the door and stepped through. Work boots, faded jeans, button-down shirt with Thompson Electrical embroidered on the pocket. I looked exactly like what I was, a working man who'd spent 35 years building something real. Vincent squinted at me through his confusion. Do I know you? We met once, 3 weeks ago in your building. Recognition dawned slowly, then hit like lightning. You're Sophia's father, Marshall Thompson, master electrician, small business owner, and as of today, your new boss. Vincent laughed, but it sounded like breaking glass. This is impossible. You're a construction worker. I'm a man who understands value. While you were mortgaging mansions and leasing status symbols, I was building something that lasts. I pulled out a chair and sat down. 35 years of smart investments, living below my means, saving every dollar for my daughter's future. This can't be legal. Vincent turned desperately to Spencer. Spencer reviewed the documents with professional thoroughness. It's completely legal, sir. Everything is properly documented. I won't sell my company to him. Then don't, I said calmly. Walk away. Lose everything in 20 days. Your choice entirely. Why? His voice broke. Why are you destroying me? I leaned forward. 3 weeks ago, you put my daughter on her knees to scrub toilets. You humiliated her, broke her spirit, made her question her worth. You treated her like she was nothing. My voice stayed level. Today, you learn what nothing actually feels like. Please. This company is my life. My daughter was my life. You tried to destroy her. Now face the consequences. Donovan slid the final contracts across the mahogany table. Vincent stared at them with the hollow expression of a man watching his world end. Sign the papers, Mr. Rodriguez. Your consulting position starts Monday. You'll report directly to CEO Sophia Thompson. Vincent's hand trembled as he signed his name, each letter spelling the end of his empire. When the last signature was complete, I stood. Clean out your office by Friday. My daughter moves in Monday morning. I walked toward the door, then paused. Oh, and Vincent, if you ever speak to my daughter with anything less than complete respect, you'll discover that buying your company was the gentle option. 6 months later, Rodriguez Development, renamed Thompson and Associates Development, was profitable and growing. Sophia transformed the company culture completely. Fair wages, respectful treatment, opportunities for advancement based on merit, not politics. Brady Anderson, the maintenance worker who'd shown Sophia kindness during her darkest weeks, became facilities supervisor. The company's first project under new management, affordable housing on San Antonio's west side, the same neighborhood where I'd raised my daughter. Sophia's divorce from Madison's brother finalized quickly and quietly. Madison moved to Dallas, chasing another wealthy family. She never looked back. Vincent lost his mansion to foreclosure within 3 months. His wife, Ashley Cooper, filed for divorce, taking half of nothing. He lasted exactly 1 week as a consultant before quitting in humiliation, unable to take direction from the woman he'd once forced to scrub toilets. I retired at 58, my work finally complete. Every Sunday, Sophia visits for breakfast in the same kitchen where this story began. We use the good china now, every single week. People ask if I regret spending $4 million on revenge. I tell them it wasn't revenge, it was justice. And it wasn't $4 million. It was 26 years of love finally getting the return it deserved. Last Sunday, Sophia brought someone special. Dad, I want you to meet Cameron. He's an architect. He designs affordable housing. Looking at them together, happy, equal, respected, I see Grace's dream fulfilled. This is what wealth really means. This is what victory looks like. And it was worth every penny.